Man, Florida State fans, I get you. I feel you. I empathize with you. If I just went undefeated, my squad had a chance at the college football playoff, had won their conference championship game, and were left out for a one-loss squad, I would be PO'd too. I get what Mike Norvell said. That much is very understandable. But if we were to look at this outside of the logic pretzel, the traffic jam of data that we have gotten ourselves into with this conversation, I think it's a pretty obvious assessment, and the committee got it right. Once upon a time, the two teams that played in the college football national championship game were based on computers. And before that, we just voted. Sports writers said, I think that team. Oh, I think that team. That's how we came to the conclusion. The human element of eyeball tests, of instinct, of assessment outside of a vacuum, that's what the College Football Playoff Committee was built to do. And that's what it did. You see, a computer would spit out the data of Florida State and say they went undefeated. They had two good non-conference wins, both away from Tallahassee, and they won their conference championship. So all of those data points, a 13th win means Florida State is in. A computer couldn't tell you that Jordan Travis went down. The computer couldn't tell you that the Seminoles without Jordan Travis are not the Seminoles that beat LSU to start the season. A computer couldn't sit there and explain why Florida State was a shell of itself from earlier in the year. And that's why the humans are on the playoff committee. That's why there is a committee. I know that Boo Corrigan and the rest of the playoff committee takes a lot of flack, and I can understand why. Look, these guys are suits and they're anonymous. Even though their identities are known, the audience doesn't know who the people inside that boardroom are. And secondly, they're executives, they're suits. Everybody hates a boss, a CEO. Nobody likes that person. They're unrelatable. So that's got two strikes against them. But when Boo Corrigan says, quote, Florida State is a different team than they were through the first 11 weeks, without Jordan Travis, without the offensive dynamic that he brings, they are a different team. Any honest human being would say that. Now, people will point to the SEC. Well, the SEC always gets the benefit of the doubt. The bulk of the playoff committee have ACC ties, not SEC ties. And if we were just simply to take the shoe and put it on the other foot, let's say it was Alabama, who went undefeated through the SEC, won its conference championship game, but lost their starting quarterback, Jalen Milroe, let's just say in that Iron Bowl. And we saw Alabama struggle to win the SEC title game. But here was Florida State, and FSU had a healthy Jordan Travis, and its only loss of the season was, let's say, against LSU, a long time ago. Now, who would Seminoles fans say to put in? Put in the undefeated conference champ, Alabama, that didn't have its starting quarterback? Or would they say, we deserve a chance because that loss was a long time ago and they don't have their starting quarterback anymore? We've got ours. Of course, Noles fans would put in a Seminoles team that had lost a non-conference game to an elite opponent a long time ago, but we're still healthy and playing better football today than before. I don't expect FSU fans to suddenly have this great giving persona around the holidays. What I do think, though, is that the sports writers that have been digging into all of these minutiae data points about it are missing the larger point. Today, if I gave every one of those sports writers this choice, I will pay the rest of your mortgage off if you pick this winner today correctly. Alabama versus Florida State, neutral site. How many of the sports writers, how many of the sports media, how many of the college football experts would sit here today with a straight face and pick the Seminoles to beat the Crimson Tide at a neutral field a month from now, if it meant thousands of dollars? Their mortgage was riding on that decision. None of them. So we can talk about deserving, and that's fine. and the better regular season resume, that's fine too. But every honest college football fan asked who the 4 best teams in college football are today. None of them could make the argument a better football team today is Florida State than Alabama. You couldn't make that argument honestly. Doesn't matter if this was a down year for the SEC. Doesn't matter if it took Alabama a fourth and a miracle to beat Auburn. Doesn't matter that Alabama lost to Texas early in the season. Today, in your most honest moment, could you make the argument that Florida State's one of the 4 best teams in college football and Alabama isn't? The answer is no. For more videos like this, subscribe right here. I'm DA. We'll see you next time.